So there I was, not 30 years old, selected to be the first American social scientist on the ground in China. And so I arrived in China, and thank goodness for that year in China, because it taught me so many things. First of all, it taught me that communism is is a is a terrible way to try to organize a society. And I came by that conclusion, of course, by listening to the villagers themselves who complained. Once they got to know me and trust me, they complained bitterly about their lives. They said, you know, before the revolution, we actually were better off. We're now worse off after the revolution. That was 30 years under Mao Zedong and the Chinese Communist Party. They said before the revolution, we used to be able to sell our products. They grew fish in fish ponds and sugar cane and they raised silkworms. We used to be able to sell our products down the river to Hong Kong and make a healthy profit. Now the state confiscates it from us at very low prices, and then the state makes the profit and we're left with nothing. And then the one-child policy began. And I have to say that I was so embedded in the village by then that when the one-child policy began, on March 8th of 1980, the local Communist Party secretary, who'd become a friend of mine, came over to my house waving a Communist Party directive, and he said, "There's a new directive that's come down. I thought you'd like to see this." Well, of course I did. I wanted to see all the Communist Party directives I could get my hands on. And this one was remarkable. This one said that the population of Canton province was growing too fast, and that the Communist Party was going to pull out all the stops to stop the population from increasing more than 1% in the year 1980. And this was March. And I said, well, you know, Mr. Party Secretary, that it's March and it takes 9 months to conceive a child, so that all the babies who are going to be born in 1980 have already been conceived. He said, yes, we're going to do a house-to-house survey of the village. We're going to find out all the women who are pregnant. If they're pregnant with a second, third, fourth child or higher order child, they're going to have to go in and get an abortion. And that's exactly what he did. And I went with these women as they were arrested for the crime of being pregnant and taken miles away down the road to the commune headquarters, where they were locked up, and literally locked up, put under guard, forced to stay there, subjected to morning to night brainwashing sessions. They called them study sessions, but they were really brainwashing sessions where senior male cadres would get up and yell at these young, frightened mothers, most of them in their early 20s, mid-20s, late 20s, and say, you there are not going to be allowed to have the child you're carrying. For the good of the state, for the good of the commune, for the good of the country, you have to get an abortion. And they all did. They all did. The pressure kept increasing until every last one of them went in under escort to the local medical center to get an abortion. I went with them as they were taken off to the local clinic for that abortion. I saw them given lethal injections into the womb. These were women who were 6, 7, 8, even 9 months pregnant. Lethal injections into the womb to kill the baby. And I saw them in the operating room do cesarean section abortions on these women. Cesarean section, not with the idea of delivering a live baby, because it was a difficult birth, but with the idea of delivering the now dead or dying baby. And my world shook. It was as if witnessing the cesarean section abortion on a crying woman on the operating table and the delivery of a dead baby. It was as if the pit of hell had opened up before me. You see, I hadn't believed in the existence of evil, or absolute evil anyway. I thought everything was shades of gray, you know, everything was relative. This was an absolute evil. This was a killing of a tiny daughter of Eve, a tiny son of Adam, who'd done nothing to deserve the death sentence, which was being carried out on them, and the grievous wounding of the mother of that child as well. And I became pro-life in that instant. There was no way I could justify this act, no way. You can talk all day about overpopulation. Of course, we know now that we have an underpopulation problem, and we have a looming problem of the population of the world crashing, not exploding. But at the time, the myth of overpopulation was in the air. No, I thought there's no way this is justified. I rejected this evil. And it also forced me to consider whether or not good existed. Because you see, if such a great evil can exist, then either one of two things has to be true. If such a great evil can exist, then the universe is mad and nothing makes any sense. And the other possibility, of course, is that if such a great evil can exist, there must be a compensating good to keep things in balance. I didn't want to live in an insane asylum. So I began to seek the good. And of course, I was led to the source of all goodness, who is God himself. And gradually, through a long process, I'm a very slow learner when it comes to some very important things. I found my way into the Catholic Church on a beautiful Easter day in April of 1991.